Hello and welcome to the news. I am Saja Brito. Coming up this evening, UDP party leader Honorable Usainu Dabo tours GK Farm, and Gambians react to a possible extension of state of public emergency as COVID-19 cases surge in the country. And my guest today is Lamin Tamba, social commentator and staunch APRC supporter, who will be joining us live on Skype from the UK. But first, we'll take a look at the newspapers. The Standard newspaper is reporting that Cabinet wants President to have a power to dissolve Assembly, and a National Assembly member wants Local Government Act amended as Brikama Area Council chairmanship crisis lingers. And of course, victims tell new Attorney General to make prosecuting Jammeh top priority. Let's take a look at some of these stories in detail. President wants powers to dissolve National Assembly. President Barrow's cabinet has called on the Constitutional Review Commission to empower the president with a clause in the draft constitution that will make it possible to dissolve the National Assembly of the Gambia. Citing its position on the draft constitution in a paper seen by the Standard newspaper, the cabinet argued that the principles of checks and balances dictated the president be accorded such powers. The government is of the view that, consistent with the principles of checks and balances between the executive and the legislature, provision should be made that empowers the president to dissolve the National Assembly in appropriate circumstances in the same way that the members of the National Assembly can impeach an elected president. National Assembly member wants Local Government Act amended as Brikama Area Council chairmanship crisis lingers. The National Assembly member for Lower Badibu, Alhaji Jawara, has sponsored a private members bill seeking to amend a section of the Local Government Act which obliges elected chairpersons or councillors to automatically lose seat if they cease to be members of the parties which sponsored their election. The bill is being introduced as the UDP wrestles to remove Srifo Sonko as chairman of Brikama Area Council after he lost a favor with the party, which accuses him of decamping to President Barrow's National People's Party. Victims tell new Attorney General to make prosecuting Jammeh top priority. The chairperson of the Center for Victims of Human Rights Violations has urged the new Attorney General, Dauda Jallow, to bring in former President Yahya Jammeh and his cohort of human rights violators to justice his top priority. Sirif Kijera told the Standard newspaper on Saturday that as we wish the AG good luck in his opposition, we want to remind him that prosecuting former President Yahya Jammeh should be non-negotiable on his part. We will not accept anything other than seeing Jammeh in court. We know it is election year next year, and we don't want to see our new AG to be used as a political tool to appease APRC or Jammeh sympathizers. Gambia's COVID-19 cases increased by 40% in last 20 days. The Gambia's coronavirus cases have increased by 40% in the last 20 days as 2 new cases have been registered on Thursday and on Saturday. According to the Health Ministry, the 2 cases are passengers who arrived with SN Brussels flight on June 22nd. One of the new cases is a 52-year-old Gambian who had been in quarantine since her arrival. She is asymptomatic and also hypertensive. The other case is a 24-year-old Dutch national. He too was in quarantine, says the Health Ministry. Batambedu tells APRC to stop dreaming about Jammeh's comeback. In his farewell sermon as Minister of Justice, Abubakar Tambaidu could not leave without taking a last dig at his biggest critics, the leadership and members of the former ruling party APRC. Addressing the press conference at his chambers in Banjul, the outgoing Attorney General told the APRC to wake up from the dream that former President Yahya Jammeh will return and make a political comeback. Gambian appointed CFO of Global Fund. The Global Fund to fight AIDS, tuberculosis and malaria has announced the appointment of a Gambian financial expert at the FI as the new Chief Financial Officer, according to a press statement released on June 26. While the Global Fund is working towards optimizing its financial resource management at this critical moment in global public health financing, the establishment believes that Ms. Fai is the right person capable of managing the position, considering her years of experience in global financial operations. Imam urges National Assembly members to reject skin bleaching repeal bill. US-based Gambian Imam Momodu Cisse has called on Gambia parliamentarians to reject the bill seeking to repeal the Skin Bleaching Prohibition Act 1996 and legalizing the practice. The chief imam of the Muslim Center in Michigan averred that skin bleaching is immoral and sinful under Islamic law and should continue to be banned as 95% of Gambians are Muslims. 50,000 front way to Europe payment lands a soldier in court, and of course Gambians petition US to end racism and police brutality. That's it for the Standard newspaper. Let's take a look at some of the headlines on the point. Headlines are pretty much the same. Fatal accident claims 5 lives. Let's take a look at that story. At least 5 people have lost their lives following a fatal accident involving a passenger vehicle commonly called Gele and a truck. The incident happened at a Tanene village, Foni, in the West Coast region on Saturday morning. According to eyewitnesses, the incident occurred in the midst of a heavy downpour accompanied by windstorms, resulting in the Gele driver losing control and eventually hit the truck, which was parked along the highway. The victims of the incident include 2 women and 3 men. That's it for the newspapers. Let's go for a break and we'll be right back. Welcome back. UDP leader has called on the government to support GK Farm. The farm, which is in Tubakuta village, is one of the largest in Combo East. The UDP leader toured the farm on Saturday. Lamin Jai tells us more.
A high-profile visitor handed the perfect privilege. UDP leader Usainu Dabo became the first person to reap from GK Farm as he visited the vast farm on Sunday.
Will really grow.
Amen.
Inshallah.
Amen.
If I may say, Bihurmat and Nabi, it certainly will grow, and I hope that we'll have several harvests of these trees of the produce in this farm.
Amen.
Harvests that will be beneficial to the Gambian people and to the investors themselves. I'm really honored because this could have been. We could have asked my friend Jawara to come from Kantora to come and do it, But then giving me this honor, I'm really happy, really grateful. I'm humble.
Mr. Dabo's visit was greeted by a modest welcome by women villagers. GK Farm is owned by US-based Gambian Mohammed Jawara. It's at Tubakuta, Combo East. It's been 6 months since the papaya were cultivated. They have now started fruiting.
The duration of the papaya is, this particular one is 6 months old now. With this level of fruiting, it's 6 months. But it can stand here, you keep harvesting for the next 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. It depends on how it's maintained, because what it needs is nutrition. You can see what we have there. We have compost already. We mulch it with what? Granite shell. And this granite shell has a lot to do. Not only, preventing evaporation or retaining the fertilization, controlling erosion, but it retains the moisture.
It's not just papaya that's grown on this farm. There is watermelon, there is pineapple, there is pepper, and there is plantain.
This is the pineapple. We have pineapple here. We have okra. We have watermelon. This is intercropping. That's the pineapple. If you look at, because the pineapple take longer time, to mature. Now you see the watermelon. If you observe, you don't see heavy weeds, because the watermelon suppresses those weeds. And we are benefiting from it. And you see clearly it's cow dung that we are using, not chemical fertilizer. Everything is, natural. So you see the watermelon, this watermelon, we call it sweet sangaria. That's the name. Very sweet, very juicy, reddish inside. We call it sweet sangaria. It's from Thailand. And also the okra, we call it basanti. is also from Thailand. Yes, it's also from Thailand.
Mr. Dabo looked impressed as he toured the farm.
So I'm really honored and glad that you have invited me to come and see this farm at first hand. When he was telling me in my office, it was just an imagination, you know. But now I have seen the reality. I have now seen the reality, and I'm really impressed.
The UDP leader, however, insisted those in the farming industry need support from the government.
When I saw this, I remembered Nyana Bere.
Yes.
Nyana Bere.
Yes.
In
NYSS.
That's right, in Kembuje.
Okay,
In Serakunda Nding.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
Pasanjali.
That's the NSS.
NSS,
farm.
that's right, the
Yes.
NSS farm.
Yeah.
Pasanjali owned that farm. There was a time I had about 2 hours work with him in that farm. But it failed. Why has it failed? Because of lack of government support. Agriculture is not like the textile business. You know, you bring it, sell quickly, and agriculture, you know, as you said, you know, is capital-intensive business, and they need really absolute government support in order to sustain the industry.
Work on Gike farm has been remarkable, but this is thanks to 5 young Gambians, and Mr. Dabo reserved special admiration for them.
Gentlemen, I think you are really an honor to the country. You know, being willing in the month of Ramadan, coming here, stamping, removing all those things, and making this place cultivable. You know, I think that's you are awesome gentlemen, and I think, you know, you're really great patriot, and I hope other Gambian youths will also emulate what you've done.
The UDP leader visited the farm alongside 2 National Assembly members. The lawmakers, who are also members of the National Assembly's Select Committee on Agriculture, also looked impressed.
We are very impressed. In fact, the first time I went to Songhai in the North Bank region, my impression was that kind of a project should be replicated in every region. And I'm happy to see one here, that's a replica of the one in North Bank. I am happy with the youth. Number one, they are ex-students of Songhai. And number two, this is going to give them more knowledge in the creation of this type of ventures.
You will say something, but at the end of the day, if the particular person didn't see it, he may not take it seriously, according to the Honorable. Because the moment you told him, he was thinking you were joking. But when you arrive, at least you have seen it physically, he has been impressed. And for us, we are there to advocate, and that advocacy will do it.
4 youths who work here find it fulfilling.
Since I started working here, I thank God because I've been gaining something here. Though, you know, human being never been satisfied, but you have to thank God of what you have, or you have to be grateful of everything you have. But we are thanking God that it's agriculture that we are working on. Some people might think that I'm working on office because some of my colleagues, they think that I'm having money or something else, but I didn't have nothing. It's just this agriculture that I'm inventing on. And we came here due to our boss, Mr. Audu. He employed us because he's former students in GSI. So he decided to bring us here because he knows that we have the passion and we have the dedication to come here and do the job because we have trained for it. Okay.
The youth also spoke on the indifferent attitude of some Gambian youth towards agriculture.
Just my advice to them is to encourage, to motivate them, let them have this mentality that agriculture is not very poor, and to leave this country without no skills, nothing else. You say you are going for backway, it's nothing. It doesn't make sense. So when you go there, you can do different kind of works there that you know that it's available in your country, but you cannot do it because of what? You just show yourself that you are big, or you know. So, but what I'm encouraging youths to do is let us all focus on agriculture because it's not for elder work, it's for the youth. Youth should be the one who should empower this job.
GK Farm works closely with the women of Tubakuta. They are the farm's closest partners. They renewed their singing and dancing as the UDP leader departed the farm. GK Farm is a project of a single man. The farm's size is 25 hectares. The officials have their eyes fixated on cultivating the entire land, but resources continue to present challenges. They want the government to come in and support.
Meanwhile, as the state of public emergency nears to end, Gambians react to the idea of another extension. Matisengo reports.
Hello there and a warm welcome to the Fatene Walk. On the 10th of June 2020, the government of the Gambia extended the national state of emergency for an additional 21 days, effective until 1st July 2020. Today we're here at Westfield to seek for the opinion of the people whether they're expecting an extension with strict measures, because we have 45 active cases. Join us to know more.
To me, personally, I will say it's some kind of a mixed feeling as far as the state of emergency is concerned. Because I wouldn't say it's something bad, as I've just mentioned, but probably we should also look into other issues surrounding it, as you've just stated, as far as taking some easing measures are concerned. Like, for instance, recently mosque opened and the like, and people are allowed to go about their normal transactions as far as using taxis are concerned. So even if the state of public emergency is to be continued, it can be done alongside those little bit of relaxations, so that people can also in some other way be able to go about their lives and livelihoods.
Follow ndelbe alo nako birin koina fokato musukunda ke kunda kilintije muye coronavirus soto mbe olon Gambia dingol jam mulbi sabatirin jam mafo mulbe outside country de bari mulbi jam coronavirus binala wato mi kilimma soton kono jam so ni ka soto tafana oto ibotana bantala bankolet so nimmanza kunda e boda nyol soro munatu nay ka plenol bulay kana wol nin kuran kanan na bankoka oto hanibi ilaje amante nyafa ha ni dun koy ba la fala lu ay sembo diala ni 21 days o banta ay another 21 days o kije lu ay o sembo diala bari fana mul nin kuran kanan na bankoka anyanda woto stop lale wol manyana dun na nyim bankoka ha ndu 21 days o mum fana yafo jamu fenda bankolet ntel be alo na ko be ka balu hanto di mouth lela so ni mo la do ku dulal bundal ta ya soro wolbe balura nyaadile anu mansa kew ma moy folo de kay mani boto di jumal lela wallahi depanso di jumal lela so na ka be mo la bundal soron wala nyindi mo li fa konkola anu konkoto wala jawyata dinanta coronavirus ha so mbadani la ala kan annabi kan nin Gambia man kura on soto dukara do ku bundal yele mo li ngatan na do ko wala ha
waaye xam nga fi mu nekk Gambia soo seete da nga soo seete fi mu nekk dafa am ne state of emergency amut parce que state of emergency suñ ko waxee ñi dañoo war a toog suñ kër waaye xam nga fi mu nekk ñi ñaa ngi liggéey normali taxi yaa ngi daw ñu ngi passage bu leen neex léegi taxi yi fi nekk xam nga dañ leen wàññi fi nekk yaa ngi war a F4 people fi nekk 4 people yu da nga war a nga F3 fi nekk taxi yaa ngi F4 astafurlah van yaa ngi F4 taxi yaa ngi F seen normal si gannaaw 3 people xam nga mu ngi mel ne kon fi mu nekk mu ngi mel ne state of emergency amuñ léegi man su ma gis-gis fi nekk Gambien dañ war a understand ne jamono suñ jamono su ma li ma gis fi nekk jamono bu naxaree da ngaa naxaree nga ànd ak moom soo seetee fi nekk some years back mus ñu indi fi state of emergency ndax dafa nekk ñi ñaa doon liggéey freely ku nekk yaa ngi dox sa solo saa yam la neexee nga dem saa yam la neexee nga ñëw waaye suñu demee ba nga xam ne state of emergency dara moo tax xam nga fi nekk kenn bëggul feebar fi nekk feebar ñu ngi dem ba fi nekk feebar baa nga gën a English ñu ngi waalante waaye balaa moo indi fi mu nekk coono dañu indi jàngoro léegi ñu indi waa another state of emergency waaye ñun sax su state of emergency sax yomb na sista state of emergency boo xam ne yaa ngi dox sa sola na marché baa ngi ëppun taxi driver yaa ngi dox van yaa ngi dox lu nekk dox xam nga lii moom nekkul state of emergency
fi mu ne nii laaj maa ngi doon la ñu ne waaw léegi ubbi waat nañ jumaa yi ñëpp kontaan commencé joxante loxo waaw baax na waaye spacing bi man bëgg naa de ñu julli ñu ñaan because of foog ñu ñaan suñu ñaanut li yàlla mu ne bépp balaa bu ñëw bépp musiba tan bépp balaa bu ñëw dañu war a ñaan suñu ñaanee église yi ñaan si cooj yi ñaan si jàkka bi si jumaa ji yàlla dimbale ñu waaye nañ maintain spacing bi waaw nañ maintain raxas loxo bi nañ lañ continuer su raxas loxo yi nañ purifier suñu boppa foos waaw jàkka bi jumaa bi war a toog conges dañ war a am space nañ def space yi ñu control ko.
We've spoken to the Gambian people and we've been told about the strict measures government should put forward to avoid the spread of the COVID-19. Reporting for the Fatu Network News Review, I am Mati Senghor.
TAF Global is proud to launch the Moria Gardens, conveniently located in Bruford, 5 minutes off the Bruford Highway. Moria Gardens is set to comprise of 20 fenced and gated service plots with sizes ranging from 264 to 420 meters square. Unique features include water and electricity infrastructure, solar street lights, all-weather roads and scenic gardens. We offer a 10-year mortgage plan with a 25% equity down payment in partnership with GT Bank, Trust Bank and EcoBank. For more information, please contact 376-2333 or 776-2333 or visit our offices at Madiba Mall at Taft Bruford Gardens opposite 5-Star Hotel.
Welcome back. Beads play an enormously important role in the cultural, artistic and fashion expression of the African women. Beads were highly valuable in the traditional African society. Umisao tells us more.
Waist beads are important in the life of an African woman. Some also said that it's a weapon of seduction used by women to attract the opposite sex. Whatever the case may be, beads are loved and cherished by African women and Gambia in particular. Since ancient time up to date, beads are used to decorate newly wedded bride. This act is believed that it will prevent them from evil eye. As we are out and about to engage different bead sellers on the importance and origins of beads.
Feri moom bari nañ fi te bokkuñu feri jeeg dafa am feri jànq am jeeg nag day mat jeeg waaye jeeg bu matul jeeg moom joruto sax xam ne du jeeg jeegantu la jeeg dëgg day jël bii riij ko ñett ci bindigam wala ñeent bu di tëddee jëkkëram muy yëg lu bari ndax day yëngu mooy njëkk a yee jëkkëram feri kese rek ci kaw lal boo tëddee rek boo wëlbatikoo sa jëkkër yeewu te kenn du ko yee waaw waaye diskati moom mën nañu jël bii rek cristal bii rek xam nga cristal moom dafa sew sànni ko seen digg rek muy réer ak a feeñ waaw muy réer ak a feeñ waaw yi moom pour jànq yi la diskati ñoom moom yi waaye jéeg moom moomul lii naayiti nag xam nga ne nga jël sa naayiti moom teg ko ci ak say feri baax moom dafa baax waaw dafa feri baax dafa baax waaye xam nga rek jéeg moom day xajam daal jéeg day xajam fer filingu góor la fer filingu góor la góor balaa nga koy mën a daane dëgg nga takk fer romb ko xool wala nga jug di sangu wala nga tëdd toog ba si yàgg di waxtaan ak sa waay xaw koo bees tuuti mu beesu yaa ngi dégg noise bi moo tax fer baax jigéen dafa war a xajam waaye jigéen moom warut a bañ a xajam jigéen dafa war a xajam ci kaw lalam xajam ci biir néegam waxuñu ne la nga xajam ci mbedd mi xajam ci mbedd mi moom yàq la xajam daal booy xajam na nga xajam sa biir néeg xajam ci sa waay ba mu xam ne xajam nga waaye xajam pour xajam nii rek wan a jóge ci biti yàq la nit mën naa dox naan temp tey ci boppam nga naan bilaay kii tooy kii yambare fekk ma nga xajam ci biir néegam nga gis koy raaji fekk zéro ci biir këram waaw loolu la jeeg ji di nga mënantee.
moom galaaj la nekkul ne rafetaay rek moo tax ñu di ko takk dañ koy takk pour galaaj xale baax na ci moom baax na ci mag. fer moom boo dee jigéen rek war nga koo takk yaa ngi tàmbalee ci kii nàmp booy nàmp da ngay takk fer boo feree dañ lay takkal fer ba ngay doon mag nañ lay takkal fer ndax suñu maam yi dañoo fekkoon ñuy takk ay fer dana jekkal ndigul xale te baax na itam fer day gàllaaj ci nit boo takkee fer dafa baax ci jigéen danga ko war a takk moom ku ko takk war nga koo takk ku ko takkul ni danga ko war a takk te ngay jigéen day dagg ndigul xale daal da koy jekkal day jekkal ndigul xale boo gisee ndigul góor day maase rek waaye bu dee jigéen a danga cax ba muy xale nga koy takkal fer nga xam ne ndigli day am lu mu def ci ndigli da koy defar day defar ndiggam waaw bu daggee ci yoon gisoo bu daggee ci yoon nit ñi di ko njëkkante di ko for bayre lay doon yow mi ko moom nag da ngay njëkkantee for waaye góor ñi sax dañuy daw di njëkkantee for wala jigéen loolu day bayre fonk fer te takk ko ndax fer day lu baax waaw ca suñu maam yow ba naga ni ñuy takk fer gàllaaj la dafa baax ci jigéen xorom la ci jigéen.
njëriñi fer moom mooy bégal sa jëkkër rek fer moom bokk na ci mbiri jeeg te jeeg yu bëri moom dañuy bëgg a fer pour bégal seen jëkkër yi ndax ndiggi jeeg moom warta wéet waaw te fer yi am nañ tamit ñoo xam ne ni jeeg yi ndaw yi am nañ fi ay fer grande dame yi tam am nañ fi ay fer jeeg yu mag am nañ fi ay fer different type of fer lañ fi amee am nañ fer yoo xam ne nii fer yi jeeg ju ndaw ji la am nañ cristal yi tamit yooyu mooy VIP am nañ fi different cristal.
aj la mag ñu njëkk ñi dañoo takk fer waa jigéen même soo amee doom da nga war a takk fer soo amee jëkkër da nga war a takk soo amul jëkkër parce que fer dafa dog ndiga waaw am na bii cristal bii mooy feri jeeg yi bii mooy koy taal guddi waaw yu jànq yaa ngi nii cristal yaa ngi nii waaw yii tam yu jeeg la yii cristal yaa ngi nii yu xale am na yii mooy toj xuur tam am na te góor ñi dañ ko ci laaj waaw jigéen dafa takk fer xorom la si jigéen siba la jigéen moom bala jigéen bu woon baax dana yóbbu cuuraay dana yóbbu fer dana jënd malaan dana jënd dara parce que yëpp si sëy la yaa ngi maa dégg sëy dafa war a neex dafa war a civilisé waaw léegi xale yi nag xamuñ ko waaye léegi fi mu nekk nii ñu ngi koo xam si nag parce que xale bi fi mu nekk nii moom ñëpp a ko xam kuy sëy di nga jënd sa bagage yu baax yóbbu.
mën naa téye sa jëkkër si biir néeg de te léegi xam nga léegi moom mooy la waaye léegi da ngay gis ne sax ñu bëri sax comme fonkatuñ ko noonu sax parce que yéen nga am si customer yoo xamante ne dañuy ñëw naan man fer moom mooy loolu su ma yaayee ma forte nii rek pour ma jënd fer waaye man moom laaguma ko ñeneen tamit dañ la dee mënuma sol fer ñeneen dem ñu naan la ne su ma solee fer su ma jiin bi daf dee maag ci su ma ndigga bi te laaguma lu te fer doon na loo xamante ne xam nga culture la daal comme nu ma ko mën a waxee parce que xam nga dañ juddu fekk ko fii. moom am nañ ci yoo xamante ne yuy tàkk yi comme lumineuse bi nii yi moom mulwari yi moom nawet ñëw na nawet ñëwut moom yow moom yaa ngi tàkk moom. plus tamit xam nga cristal yaa ngi nii moom kay moom bari na ay bagage moom kay feeling la moom kay moom booy bu sa jëkkër waajee fekk xam nga yaa ngi sol am sa night yu oyof yi nii rek teg si sa ay fer nii xam nga muy gilig loolu leneen la de maa la wax lii de moom kay moom mooy loolu bersi boobu moom benn ko dàq. léegi capee ñu bëri comme da ngaa capane comme affaire yi suñ cosaan yi comme yoo xamante ne comme suñ yaayi démb yi dañ ko daan mun a di sol xam nga di mun a téye seen jëkkër yi si kër bi comme léegi capee da nga dee gis dafa am loo xamante ne dañ ci dee uwa laak plus tamit xam nga jonge bi man jàpp naa ne comme affaire yi tubaab bee dee dàq daal ñoom moom lañ dee gën a privé daan comme cosaan bi waaye fer moom xam naa ne moom bokk na si lu tax parce que xam nga fer parce que da ngay gis góor yoo xamante ne ñoo xamante ne buñ ñëwee fii dañ la naan seetal ma fer bu gën a cher ñu jënd fer boobu boo waxee ñu ne man lii damay daaneel man moom ñeneen tamit buñ ñëwee tamit yi toj xuur yi lañ ciy tàmm moom buy doxee bu ko seen jabar colee rek di jaagar yi moom buñ déggee keseng yi rek ñoom loolu doy na la.
léegi ku nu maye doo xaar ba ñu muur la fuñ la maye ngay tegg dem sa néegu jëkkër moo tax benn sëy barkeelu tut sëy danga daan dëj ci sa ron ndey ba sa ndey muur la muure la seru njaago seru danga kii xewoon defal la cosaan fa peppum suuna mi ne xam ne mooy sunu cosaan ne xam ne peppum suuna day law tubaarkalla defal la ko booba sëy yi barkel na fu waay toog fa ngay toog ba dégg maam waaye ndax lu ci ne rab da ciy am wàllam dégg nga soo sëyee nag te jëloo sa cosaan lu ñu ci bari rab moo leen di yàqal ndax fekk na cosaan li defuñu ko kon fer njariñam bari na serub dënkit xale boo ko boote danga koy wàcceeg jàmm ndax dënk seru mooy seri di njaago yi seri rabal yi mag ñi daan boote xam nga léegi ràpp yi la xale yi boote moo ñuy lëme si seen doom yi dañ daan defe seru dënk moom lañ daan boote suñuy doom tubaarkalla doom joo ko boote day am barke te day am wërsëg waaye léegi gis nga ko ràpp yi la ñuy boote seeni doom cosaan li daal moom lañ teggi sànni fële moo taxit nag daal fi mu ne nii dara barke la dara amatul barke ndax liy joxe barke lañ fi bàyyi. xam nga am na fer yu ñuy takkal xale yi fer yooyu mooy dogaale ndigul xale xam nga boo takkal sa doom fer bindub góor lay yor xam nga bindub jigéen ak bu góor bokkul dégg nga xale boo gis yaram bi dogut rek xam nga lu ci bari dañ lay toppatoo ca ba ngay xale suñu la takkalee fer day dogaale sa ndigg rafetal sa bind moo tax su fekkee ne caqi baat yi ñuy takkal xale booba per piir bi moom léegi ka peri nayloon moo am waaye bu njëkk da ngay wut sa peri peme def ci sa gowe moom ngay nas caq takkal ko sa baatub doom su ko defee baat bi du gàtt baat bi day yoqeeku te day jub waaw per bi mooy téye baat bi ba baat bi day normal du doon baat bu gàtt buy ñaaw yooyu xam nga jigéen baat rafet na ci jigéen. jigéen yi dañoo bàyyi seen cosaan ndax léegi ku ci am jëkkër kërug cosaan gane xam ne fa la ñu war a wàcc duñ fa dem dañuy génn ca biti luyee jëg seeni jëkkër booy sëy fekk sa goro ba muy wasin doomam fekke woo ba muy biir doomam fekke woo ba muy sonn ci doomam fekke woo nga fexe ba tàggale ko ndeyam foo man di dem doo ànd ak barke.
Waist beads have been part of African culture since the 15th century. It is worn as a symbolic expression for womanhood, femininity, fertility, and spirituality. Reporting for the Fatu Network News Review, Umiso.
Welcome back, and now I am joined by Lamin Tamba, a social commentator and staunch APRC supporter, joining us live from the UK on Skype. Welcome to the Fatu Network News Review, Lamin.
Hello, hi. Good afternoon, Fatu Network. Good afternoon, viewers. My name is Lamin Tamba, and if you're tuning in to the Fatu Network for the first time, or if you're listening to me for the first time, I am Lamin Tamba, currently resident in the UK, London, originally from Gambia, born and bred. And I am a member of the APRC, and I am the UK branch spokesman of the APRC. Thank you.
Thank you, Lamin. So right now, it seems like the entire APRC is enraged by comments made by the former Attorney General Abubakar Tambadou. Before we get into the discussion proper, I just want to take us back to his statement, and then we'll be back to discuss more.
Okay.
To the victims of human rights violations and abuses during 22 years of Jammeh's rule, you will get justice. I have always had you in mind at every stage of our transitional justice process, and I have been committed and dedicated to your cause since the first day I was appointed. I know that there have been difficult moments for you and your families in this process, and I can only assure you that it will not have been in vain. I am aware that my principled position on former President Jammeh has not endeared me to his supporters and sympathizers. And to them, I say, Jammeh belongs to the past. So wake up from your dreams of a Jammeh political comeback and move on with your lives. He has caused too much pain and suffering to the people of this country throughout his 22-year reign of terror, as the TRRC keeps revealing. He has, during this period, destroyed the innocence and soul of Gambian society with the sheer brutality of his crimes. And for this, he will be brought to account someday here or abroad. He will surely have his day.
Welcome back. Lamin, are you there? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you quite clearly, yes.
So basically what the former Attorney General is saying to the APRC supporters is that it is time to move on because Jammeh is never coming back. I mean, politically. Why are you enraged, you particularly? I know the entire APRC is offended by this statement, but why are you enraged particularly?
Well, it's typical of Bah Tambadou, isn't it? Bah Tambadou, the former Minister of Justice, the former Attorney General, the former Director of Public Prosecutions, the former State Prosecutor. This man is also a judge, jury, and the man was playing God at the same time. Because what he's done there clearly is tell APRC people, it's a deliberate provocation of the APRC, something we're used to, by the way. It's a deliberate ploy to deflect the attention on him to all the other people who dislike Jammeh and dislike the APRC. This is called the politics of deflection. So Bah Tambadou himself will know that the APRC, with or without Jammeh, we've been thriving since 2017. Jammeh flew out of the Gambia on the 22nd of January 2017. And since then, the APRC has been independent, the APRC has been resilient, the APRC has been fighting, sponsoring ourselves, batting away all the unnecessary provocations, batting away the state-sponsored terrorism that's been perpetrated in APRC regions and people who are mainly APRC party members. So with or without Jammeh, the APRC has been moving on very nicely indeed, because we are now witnessing a resurgence of the APRC party. So for Bah Tambadou to say that Jammeh has caused a lot of pain and suffering on Gambian people, Bah Tambadou will realize that despite all the hate he has for Jammeh, because Bah Tambadou is preoccupied himself in his office since he came in, the man has done nothing but pronounce stuff against Jammeh, pronounce one statement after another against Jammeh, because he knows, Bah Tambadou knows, that the haters of Jammeh, or the people who dislike Jammeh, most of them are, I'm not saying they're dogs, no, don't twist it, this is an English term, it's an English adage, that when you see dogs, you throw a bone at them, you'll be their best master, the dogs will be your best friends. So Bah Tambadou knows that now and again, he has got this bone, fat, juicy bones in his hands that he can throw to the howling dogs and the dogs will be happy. He knows as soon as he says Jammeh is in the past, move on, Jammeh haters, APRC adversaries will be jumping for joy and say, yes, that's what we want to hear. And we saw on Twitter, Jammeh haters, people who wanted Jammeh out, were bouncing because Bah Tambadou said Jammeh will have his day in court. I'll tell you what, right now, Bah Tambadou is closer to a court of law to be tried than Jammeh himself. Jammeh is more popular on Gambian soil today than any current politician in the Gambia. And that's evident. It's every day we're hearing people who are not even APRC saying, we want Jammeh back. When Jammeh was here, this wasn't happening. And this was actually an icing on the cake, Ms. Brito and the Fatu Network. This is what makes us so happy, that a Jammeh product, University of the Gambia, and a product of the University of Gambia is now the replacement of Bah Tambadou of the Ministry of Justice. We are so immensely overjoyed to see that a product of the University of the Gambia, an establishment of the APRC government, and a Jammeh establishment is churning out products, and one of those products is actually replacing Bah Tambadou. And Mr. Jallow, Dawda A. Jallow, who's replaced Bah Tambadou, cannot fail, because where he is now is rock bottom. The Ministry of Justice in the Gambia has never seen somebody so clueless, somebody so incompetent, somebody who is so false and so fake as Bah Tambadou is. And I'll tell you what, Bah Tambadou listed the legislations that he's achieved in his tenure in office. He started with the commission of inquiry, Jana Commission.
Before we get to that, let me take you back a little bit. I mean, between people accusing this man of abdicating his duties at a time when people actually needed him more, and some people saying that he is going down as, in fact, the worst attorney general in the history of the Gambia. But let's make some comparisons. In as much as we want to disagree with Batambedu or we want to disagree with Barrow, I mean, comparing the justice system in the Jammeh era and today, a lot of people say that the public confidence in the independence of the judiciary in the Jammeh era eroded as he was accused of hiring mercenary judges who actually gave thumbs up to everything that he wanted in this country. And compared to Barrow and Batambedu's judiciary, the state has actually lost some cases. I mean, what do you say about that?
Well, you compare the Jammeh judiciary and you compare the judiciary under Batambedu or under Barrow government. As a legal practitioner myself, I can tell you the difference now. In the United Kingdom, no matter how deadly a murder case is, no matter how serious a case is, once somebody is in custody and they've been charged for murder, they expedite the process. They make sure, absolutely certain, that within 6 weeks, at most 6 weeks, if the defendant is in custody, a murder trial is concluded. You will sentence the defendant if they're guilty. If they're not guilty, they're acquitted and discharged absolutely. Now, you're talking about the independence of the judiciary under the Barrow government. Well, what is determinant of an independent judiciary? They keep accusing the APRC government of having mercenary judges. The judiciary is not independent. However, the judiciary under the APRC was bringing swift cases to their swift conclusion as much as possible, especially when somebody is in detention. And the United Kingdom, that's what they always say. If the defendant is in custody, unless it's beyond the control of the state, their trial should be swift and should be brought to a conclusion as soon as possible. There's no interest in delaying the trial of somebody who's in detention for 4 years, as it's happening under the Barrow government now. We've seen the NIA 9. One of them has passed away, allegedly, deliberately allowed to die or been killed by the Barrow government because he had medical conditions. He pled with the government to take him to hospital to get medical attention. They refused. Until his dying moments, they rushed him to the hospital when they knew he had no chance. That reduced the NIA 9 defendants to 8 defendants. Out of those 8 defendants, one of them was discharged, absolutely discharged. All right? He was charged for murder of Solo Sandeng. He's been discharged because of the relationships he had with somebody in the Gambia government or the judiciary. Now, NIA 9.
Lamin, are you there?
And people who have been, I would be shocked to my, absolutely livid. For anyone to tell.
It seems like we are having some technical issues there. Lamin, can you hear us? Hello? Hello, Lamin, are you there? Hello? It seems like we've lost Lamin there. We'll keep on trying to see if we'll have him back. Hello, Lamin. It's good to have you. It seems like we lost you there for a moment.
Yeah, so you want me to continue, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now, they're saying the judiciary under APRC was not independent. We had mercenary judges, and that's not true because under APRC, no matter how serious your crime was, the cases were progressing. People weren't going through court. Yes, there were allegations of people being detained without charges, which is probably true. But when it goes to court, it doesn't take 4 years to bring a case to conclusion. We have seen the junglers, so-called junglers in the military barracks, been detained for 4 years now with no charges. We have seen the Faraba victims who are being denied their justice because the cases were dropped. How can you charge somebody to court, charge somebody with crimes, send the case to court, and then go to court and try to withdraw the case from court illegally without going through due process? So when they start telling us this, and Batambudu said, oh, the judiciary is independent, our newfound democracy, that doesn't exist under the Barrow government. You cannot compare the Jammeh government judiciary and now. Even if the judges were biased, who knows? What the judges were doing at the time was ensure justice was served as soon as possible without keeping people in jail forever for charges coming from all angles or charges that have been sitting idle for 3-4 solid years. And this is evident. I'm not making this up. The NIA 9 are still waiting. Yankuba Toure's case, even before it goes to proper trial, it took a year for them to go past the pre-trial until Yankuba Toure's lawyer protested that the judiciary was dragging their feet so that they can delay that man's full trial, so that they can keep him in detention forever. And so you can't go around saying, people say these things because people don't look at the facts. People like me look at the nitty-gritty. We look at the details of these cases, and I can tell you for a fact that this government hasn't improved from where APRC left off. We are, in fact, we are going backwards. We're going back in every single procedural system that we have in our Gambia government today. Things are falling apart, and they're falling apart rapidly. Thank you.
Lamin, let's take a look at some of the undertakings by Tambedu, one of which was the establishment of the Jammeh Commission and, of course, the establishment of the TRRC. Looking at how those commissions, or how that commission turned out, which is the Jammeh Commission, because it's already over and the recommendations have been handed to government. What is your take on that? Do you describe it as a witch hunt?
What, the Jammeh Commission you're talking about?
The Jammeh Commission, yes.
Yeah, I mean, the Jammeh Commission is not a witch hunt. The Jammeh Commission turned out to be a witch hunt. At the beginning, Parliament passed the Commission of Inquiry Act, which is fine. Commission of Inquiry Act is fine as long as it works within the remit of our Constitution. The Constitution of the Republic of the Gambia says the military junta is beyond the remit of the Jammeh Commission or any other inquiry. Any commission will have no authority to investigate the military junta. And the military junta was between July 22nd, 1994 to October 1996. So between 22nd July 1994 and October 1996, no commission, nobody had any authority to investigate the military junta. And then after October 1996, further immunity was given to a serving president of the Republic of the Gambia. You cannot investigate a sitting president or an ex-president of the Republic of the Gambia for acts or omissions while they were serving the Gambian people. When they were in office, anything they did or didn't do cannot be answerable to any commission. Before we go into anything in our country, this is what I want Gambian people to understand, and I want Gambian governments to abide by, to comply with. Before you set anything up, because public enterprise, public activities, government business is always operated within the confines of our law, within the parameters of our laws, and the Constitution is the supreme law of the land. Therefore, any operation that the government engages in must be based on what the provisions of our Constitution stipulate. So the Constitution says you can't investigate the junta and you can't investigate Jammeh. You set the Commission of Inquiry, fine. Investigate every other person except Jammeh. Or you might even investigate Jammeh, but you cannot bring any legal proceedings. You cannot enforce anything or execute any recommendation as long as that recommendation has something to do with Jammeh. That's what our constitution says, the 1997 constitution. This is a fact, this is an absolute truth that no one can knock. So the Janneh Commission came in. All they were interested in is exactly the same days that Yahya Jammeh was in office. They didn't want to go a day before he came into office, and they didn't want to go a day after he came into office. And we know a lot of money went missing from the Central Bank of the Gambia soon after Jammeh's departure. They blamed Yahya Jammeh for it. They withdrew 99 million or $99,000 from the Central Bank of the Gambia, and they blamed Yahya Jammeh for it. When Yahya Jammeh left, Central Bank of the Gambia confirmed that they had $75 million dollars surplus, yeah, in their reserve. They had $75 million. Also, they had $100 million surplus in their operations department. So therefore, when Jammeh left, the central bank was in a good position. It was not in debit. But until April 2017, the central bank went into overdrawn. So why then didn't the Janneh Commission extend their investigations until April 2017? Why did they stop in January, exactly the day that Jammeh flew out? How much of Gambian money did the Barrow government use to accommodate and feed themselves in Dakar when they were held hostage there, or when they were refugees actually? So now the Janneh Commission engaged in inquiries into an area which they didn't have powers to do. So therefore, the act was passed properly by the Gambian Parliament, but then the Janneh Commission operated the act illegally. So this is simple illegality. In law, it's called ultra vires, and ultra vires means any act that you've carried out in contravention or in contravention of the laws of the land. So they breached the Gambian constitution.
So it seems like everything is said and done, and recommendations were handed to government, which a lot of people accuse them of cherry-picking the people that they wanted to punish. What do you make of those recommendations and the decision of the Court of Appeal asking the state to desist from selling Jammeh properties?
Well, look at what they did from the beginning. This is from the beginning, Sadio. The constitution of the commission itself was wrong. Ami Bensouda, the lead counsel, had Jammeh's power of attorney. She was one of Jammeh's biggest lawyers. She was involved every step of the way with everything that Jammeh is being accused of. And this has been confirmed. That's what led to the departure of Mr. Koran, who said, look, there's so much conflict in the Commission of Inquiry. I think some of these cases, this lady had to recuse herself from some of the sittings because her name was popping up. Ami Bensouda, lawyer, legal counsel, Ami Bensouda. The biggest withdrawal, 1.2 billion or 1.1 billion from the Social Security account. Who carried out the legal conveyancing of that loan? Ami Bensouda. Surah Hatta Jammeh had beef with Jammeh. He caught them for tax evasion. Tax evasion where Usainu Dabo himself was involved. Tax evasion where Ba Tambidu's own brother, Sirif Tambidu, was involved. Ami Bensouda herself was caught in that tax evasion, or whatever it is. They didn't pay tax, so they were caught by the Mama Singate Commission. It caught them not paying tax to the Gambian authorities. So these people should not have been in the commission.
How is that relevant to their work on the commission? Are you saying that they are already conflicted and should not be on the Janneh Commission, or should not have been on the Janneh Commission?
Absolutely. In the West, conflict of interest is fatal. It kills a legal case completely. And the examples of that were the Pinochet case, HK case, many other cases in this country. In fact, you see that Grenfell fire in 2017, the first judge of the Commission of Inquiry that they were going to launch, direct relationship with Theresa May, he just advised in a case that was the company that provided the fire protection for that block-off. Okay, that was a long relationship. It wasn't a direct relationship with the company. They disqualified him because he once had dealings with a company when they dealt with another case separate from Grenfell. So conflict of interest is a fatal blow to any legal case. So the Janneh Commission will have no legs to stand on in terms of our constitution. They'll have no legs to stand on in terms of conflict. And then when they made their recommendations, look what they did. Ami Bensouda herself, her own brother, Habib Drameh, was the head of GPTC or something like that under Jammeh and Gambia Tourism Board. He didn't appear at the Janneh Commission. Many other people who wanted to appear at the Janneh Commission were denied a right of audience because if they attended and gave the audience to the public, they will counter Mrs. Bensouda herself. They would have given stories in favor of Yaya Jammeh, something they didn't want. And when their recommendations came out and the white paper was published, we saw former chief of protocol on the Jammeh exonerated. Mamburan Jai exonerated. Many other people who are now serving Barrow were exonerated. But anyone who was not agreeable to the Barrow government was banned for life, or their properties are earmarked for confiscation or forfeiture. Sabali is banned for life, one of the most bright or the brightest talent our country has right now, has been barred for life. How do you justify that legally? You barred somebody for life for acting in accordance with instructions given to him by the office of the president. He was only a secretary general. He didn't have the final call. If he signed checks, if he signed withdrawals, doesn't mean those withdrawals went into his pocket. Look at the tent at State House. They said Jammeh embezzled $99,000 to buy that tent. Who's benefiting from that tent today? Adama Barrow. He's having his rallies constantly in there. He's having his bragging and chest pumping every single weekend in that tent at State House. So if that tent was Jammeh's money, why didn't they dismantle it and give the tent back to Jammeh and tell Jammeh to give them back the $99,000? So Barrow can have some people work for him who committed bigger alleged crimes than Sabali, but Sabali can be banned for life. Jammeh's property can be seized. In fact, they didn't have any authority. We saw what the appeals court ruling entailed. It stated that the Janneh Commission and the government white paper, the recommendations of the Janneh Commission and the government white paper were not legal orders. They were not orders from court. And the Court of Appeal is right.
Which I actually want to bring you back to, because even legal practitioners have chimed in on that subject, and one of those people is Almame Tal, who is the UDP spokesperson, also a legal practitioner. Almame has come out to say that the Court of Appeal is saying that government should desist from, selling Jammeh properties is unjustifiable. What do you make of that statement?
Well, again, I'll take you back to some of the allegations you made earlier, or the insinuations, or what people normally say, that the APRC judiciary was not independent, it had mercenaries. Well, maybe there's an element of truth, because I cannot understand how Almame Tal was a judge of a court in the Gambia, yet the same Almame Tal is saying a simple court procedure. The TRRC Act, which gave the Janneh Commission power to operate, all right? It's just like the Public Order Act. It's just like the Youth Offenders Act. Just because you're accused of committing a crime doesn't mean you have been ordered to go to jail for life. So if you committed offenses against the Public Order Act right now, Mrs. Brito, the police are not just going to arrest you and bang you up or jail you for 5 years and say, all right, you committed crimes against the Public Order Act. You were using a megaphone without a permit, all right? The police still need to arrest you and put you before a law court and get the court to give you the right order, either to go to jail or to serve a community sentence or to pay a fine. The TRRC Act, the Commission of Inquiry Act is the same. Just because the Commission of Inquiry Act says the commission needs to make recommendations to government at the end of it, doesn't mean their recommendation is final. Their recommendation is just an allegation. The white paper is just an allegation, it's an opinion. I can say, Miss Brito, today you stole my my mint, my pack of mint. All right? That doesn't mean the police are going to come and arrest you and jail you straight away. They need to arraign you before a law court. So the Janneh Commission's recommendation and the white paper are just opinion. They're just accusing you of doing it. So therefore, they still needed to take you to court and say, okay, at the High Court, we've brought Miss Brito before you, or we brought Lamin Tamba before you, because we've accused him of stealing $99,000 to buy a tent for the State House. So therefore, Lamin Tamba is a criminal. And the High Court will say, okay, let's look into the details. All right, we confirmed that, yes, he did buy a tent for $99,000, but the tent was for state's use. So therefore, he's not required to pay the $99,000 back. Or they could say he bought a Rolls Royce for himself for £350,000. So therefore, the Rolls Royce was not needed to run his government operations. So therefore, Lamin Tamba, you need to pay the state £350,000. If you don't pay it within 6 months, the state can forfeit all your property to the £50,000. The Janneh Commission's recommendations and the government's white paper are not orders of the court. They needed to take it to court still and get the court to order as to how you are supposed to recover those funds. This is simple court procedure. The police do not arrest you and jail you straight. They put you before a law court. And does not arrest you and jail you straight. They put you before a law court so that the court can look at the and use their sentencing rules and apply the right sentence to you. Batambidu and his crooks didn't do that. Batambidu knows what he's doing. From day one, Batambidu was interested in one thing and one thing only: enrich himself, punish Jammeh, punish his associates, serve Batambidu's own family, serve Batambidu's friends without going to the court. So the court gave him a slap on the wrist. And you know what courts do? The courts are not, they don't talk street language. They don't tell Batambidu and Almamital, Almamital, who, for God, for the love of God. I don't know how that man was a high court judge. He turned out simple court procedure and said, the court is wrong. He disagrees with, you can disagree with it, but you can't say the court is wrong. What Batambidu did is not a court. This is the problem with UDP. UDP is suffering from sheer lack of leadership. When Dabo talks, he contradicts himself. He flip-flops. When Almame talks, he contradicts himself. He flip-flops. Almame will come and talk and contradict Dabo. Dabo will come and talk and contradict Almame. I've never seen a party like that. When the court ruled in favor of Yakumba, he was happy. The court ruled, in fact, this is not a major ruling. The court said, this is the procedure you should have followed, Batambidu. You have no authority to sell Jammeh's asset. And in the street language, that means, Batambidu, you sold stuff that is not yours. Go and bring it back. Go and recover the property, because everything you sold before now was sold illegally. So go and bring it back. But courts do not talk that kind of language. The court will say, you had no power to do this. It's up to you to figure out that you've done something illegal and you must not continue. So therefore, you need to go back and rectify what was illegal, and you must not continue until the court tells you that it's right to do so. All right? This is the problem. So Almamital may be panicking. We don't know. Maybe he bought one of Jammeh's assets and is worried that the state will go around telling people to bring Jammeh's assets back, because that's what the state should do effectively. The replacement of Batambidu has got a dirty job to do. It's like that truck, that tank that's been sent to suck out all that muck in the cesspit. He has to deal with the stench. He has to deal with this with the smell. He has to deal with the dirt, and he has to protect himself to ensure he's not infected. That infection that Batambidu is leaving behind him, you know. And this is where we are. You see, Batambidu went to Parliament and told Gambian people that some people offered to buy some property from government, but they've pulled out because of financial constraints. I tell you what, those people didn't pull out. They're the orders, the ruling of the appeals court. So now they're worried. If they continue and complete the purchase of Jammeh's properties, they might have to return these properties. And there's rumor that some people have contacted Batambidu, AG's office. They want a refund. They want to return stuff that they bought from him, or deposits that they have paid. They want to recover them. That man went to Gambian Parliament and lied between the skin of his teeth. He lied to Gambian Parliament, something which is perjury, and is facing trials now for economic crimes, for lying to Parliament, and many other things that he engaged himself in. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Lamin Tamba, social commentator and spokesperson, APRC Diaspora. Lamin, thank you very much for coming through to the Fatu Network News Review today. We appreciate you.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you, Fatu Network. I always appreciate it. Aside Brito, brilliant presenter, brilliant journalist. Keep it going. We are informing Gambian people, and that's what we need to do professionally. And I'm glad that you gave me a platform. The APRC appreciated their new house coming on today. And we would love to work with you going forward. We love every single one of you guys doing your job in the media. You're not our enemies. The rivalry is good. Take it easy. Give us the information that we need. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Well, viewers, that's it for News Review. Do join us tomorrow if you can. Thank you very much for watching, and bye for now.